Hello guys, there is a Steam sale on right now, and if you're looking to get into sim racing for the first time, it's a really good opportunity to pick up some good bargains right now. So I'll give you some of my picks, guys. I won't spend too long in this video. I just want to show you some key ones, my go-to games really, guys. These are the ones I would recommend to you. So let's go down the list. You can see first one I would suggest is you get Assetto Corsa. If you don't have it, I'm surprised you don't. It's an old game. You can see it was released in 2014, but a game that still actually stands up really well today. It still looks really good. And also, if you install Content Manager, I'll put a link in the description to Content Manager. That's like a third-party bit of software which lets you manage mods. So there is a lot of game mods for this. Third-party mods made by basically enthusiasts, which are completely free. There's hundreds of those. Cars and tracks, so you can basically expand the game with infinite amount of possibilities. Also, Content Manager has some features which unlocks some force feedback features which can maybe enhance the game as well, and they do, and also some graphic features which also improve the visual quality. So yeah, it really is a good game, stands up really well today, does not look like a game from 2014, particularly if you use Content Manager. Also, VR support as well is really good in this title. So that's definitely a one which you will enjoy if you are looking for a VR game for racing. Base content is not particularly extensive. The cars and tracks seems a little bit slim on the ground. But like I said, get the mods. When you expand it with mods, then you basically have, infinite possibilities. But for £3 and 9p, a game which you should own if you don't already have it. But yeah, a title which requires a little bit of a learning curve due to adding mods and all that sort of stuff. So a little bit of a tricky game when you first get started with it, but you will learn to get used to it, and a game you will enjoy a lot. I am sure about that. Assetto Corsa Competizione from Kunos, the same guys as this, but Assetto Corsa is basically lots of different cars and tracks. It's really is very much a a cover-all type of title. Assetto Corsa Competizione is GT racing. If you're into that, then it's a game I think you should own. It's very good. VR support isn't so good. You need a decent system to run it, and even then it's pretty hard running on your PC. But on a monitor you should be fine. But a good title, and for £11.89 I think it's worth getting. Also DLC available for that. Expands it with extra tracks and cars. Let's move on down, and we have R Factor 2. This is a go-to title for me. I think it's brilliant, particularly if you have a direct drive wheelbase, because the physics are pretty much the best in sim racing. Accurately modeled physics, and that comes through the force feedback amazingly well. As I said, particularly with a direct drive wheelbase where you can really feel everything. It's pretty impressive stuff. Also, it does have workshop content, which is free content which you can install directly into R Factor 2, so cars and tracks, and that's pretty good. So it does have good expandability, and it's a title which the developers are still actively involved in improving over time. It takes a bit of time for them to add updates, but they are getting round to it. So a game which is not it came out in 2015, but it's a game which is actively still getting new content. So yeah, one to check out, guys. And for £5.15, you can't go wrong with that. I would say get it for that amount of money. Yeah. So a little bit tricky with the learning curve and getting up and running with it. It's not the best UI, but it is. The developers are actively trying to update it and improve it, and there is a UI update coming very soon if it's not out already. I haven't played it for a couple of weeks, but I know they are working on something to make it more accessible. But a title I think is brilliant, and I think sometimes doesn't get the love it deserves, really, guys. But for £5.15, yeah, get it, guys. No brainer, really. Dirt Rally 2, I think is a great pickup. Still good now, guys. Still my go-to rally title if I want to play some rally. Physics actually pretty good, and the force feedback is actually decent as well. Lots of force feedback settings, takes you a little while to dial it in, but once you got there, it is a great title. Great for VR as well. VR support is very good, and it's a Codemasters game. I'm not massively big fan of most of Codemasters titles, but Dirt Rally 2 is probably my favourite title from Codemasters, and £4.50. I'm assuming you probably got it by now. If you haven't, get it, guys. It's fun stuff. A title which I think is massively overlooked is Autumn Ballista 2. It's probably a name which a lot of you still aren't familiar with, but this is, I'd say my, number one go-to title for sim racing. It is a title which is awesome. Developers are still actively updating it. Unlike some titles out there where a developer might kind of put a game out there and just kind of run with the money and then bring out a new game. The developers behind Autumn Ballista 2 are very, very good, guys. Autumn Ballista 1 had updates years and years after the game was released because they just wanted to make it, they wanted to perfect the game, and they're doing the same with Autumn Ballista 2. It is amazing. Physics are really good. Force feedback is fantastic. Love the force feedback through my direct drive wheelbases. £17.50, not obviously the cheapest discounted game today, but it's fair enough because it is one of the newer titles and it is worth £17.50. If you don't like it, you can always, within 2 hours, refund it anyway. But honestly, guys, I would say get Autumn Ballista 2, give it a go. I'm sure you'll love it. And one thing I will say, as a game for anyone who wants to kind of really dip their feet into sim racing titles for the first time, Autumn Ballista 2 is probably actually my number one pick. And the reason for that is it has a really easy to use UI. It's really easy to set up. Some sim racing games can be, quite awkward to get up and running. It requires a little bit of a learning curve. Autumn Ballista 2 is very friendly, user friendly. And also VR support is probably the best you're going to get. It's the most optimized graphics engine for racing games out there. And even on a monitor, you don't need like really fast PC to actually get really good visuals out of this title. There's some really good benefits to this, and because also the user friendliness goes as far as it does have a lot of driver aids. So if you're struggling, you're coming off arcade racing games, what you can do with Autumn Ballista 2, you actually have the driving line to help you. It has some kind of braking aids. It has stability control aids. It has all the things you need, to auto gear changes and all that sort of stuff as well. So it's very user friendly. You're going to find it very approachable. You just whack on some of the driver aids and then take them back. As you get more proficient, as you learn the cars and you learn the tracks, go to a title for me, guys. Autumn Ballista 2, get it, it's awesome, and sadly a game which doesn't have the kudos of having a kind of a big brand behind it or big publisher, but that's a shame because it is a sim racing title you should own if you are looking into getting into sim racing games. So that'd be my number one pick if I'm perfectly honest with you guys. Down here, Wreckfest, that's a bit of fun, but it's obviously an arcade game, so I have that. Project Cars 2, I know it's probably quite attractive, not really I said simulation, it's not really a simulation, it's sort of like semi-simulation. A lot of janky physics in this game, so some cars drive well, some cars drive like trash, but not a true simulation. Lots of content in there, huge amount of cars, I think 190 cars and dozens of tracks. So certainly one which for £7 and under £7, I think it's worth it for what it is. Does look good. VR looks good as well, runs well in VR, and it's a game which I'd say you can't really go wrong with it, but not really a true simulation. If you're looking for simulation, look for R Factor 2, the Set Courser series of games, Autumn Ballista 2. Those are my kind of picks for sim racing titles, guys, if you want to do it on the cheap and you want to get into proper sim racing. But Project Cars 2, it's still not a bad pickup. Let's see if there's anything down here that's worth getting. Well, Kartcraft, well, that's not discounted. Quite expensive now. It did launch at £15 and was £15 for quite some time, but they've just come out of early access and that's what they're charging now, guys. So maybe one to wait for the next sale. Good title. I like it, but there you go. Race Room Racing Experience. Well, it's free to play. There is some free base content. So I think 3 or 4 cars and I think maybe 2 or 3 tracks. Can't remember exactly. But everything else, then you just buy cars and tracks afterwards. But obviously free to play. Give it a go. You might like it. Give Yeah, you may like it, you may not. I think it's good. It takes a bit of love to get into it. I think, guys, the setup is a little bit of a hassle, but it's not a bad game. And down here, just some DLC. I don't think there's anything else that I want to show you guys. Well, I'd say avoid Project Cars 3. Get Project Cars 2. If you're going to get over them, get Project Cars 2. Project Cars 3 is possibly the worst purchase I ever made, and I bought it at full price, and I really regret it. I hate it, guys. Don't get it. $14.99. You know, they're basically just ripping you off. Absolutely shit game. You know, basically shitty game. Do not get that. Anything else down here? Oh, you can see DLC for ACC is discounted, so that's nice. Definitely worth getting all that sort of stuff when you can, when it's cheap. And I think that's where I think that's it, guys. So just a few sim racing titles. Of course, there's some other stuff here which I've completely ignored, but because I want to tell you about the sim racing games. And so those are my top picks for sim racing games. You know, big discounts. You know, you can get all of them for what, under £40. You can pick up all those games I mentioned, and you will just basically be set. You know, all set for getting into sim racing. So there you go, guys. Hope you found that useful. Do drop comments below the video if you want to ask me anything. If you want to ask for any other recommendations, if there's a game there that you've picked out and you're wondering if it's worth getting, you know, I'll be happy to join a discussion and give you my opinions. But there you go, guys. I hope you found that useful. I'm off. I think it's probably the video's a bit longer than I expected, but there you go. So anyway, see you in the next one. Take care and bye bye.